Habari mtazamaji wa Biz TV, karibu katika channel yetu. Tuko Arusha katika ukumbi wa mikutano ya kimataifa AICC Arusha, ikiwa ni katika mkutano wa 7 wa wakaguzi wa mahesabu wa ndani ulioandaliwa na African Federation of Institute of Internal Auditors Afiia pamoja na Institutes of Internal Auditors Tanzania, ambapo wakaguzi wa mahesabu wa ndani wamekutana hapa kujadili masuala mbalimbali yanayohusu taaluma yao kwa ujumla. Kupitia channel yetu ya Biz TV unaweza ukapata matukio mbalimbali yatakayojiri hapa, hivyo usisahau kusubscribe kwenye channel yetu ili upate matukio yatakayojiri hapa kwa siku ya leo. Asante.
On behalf of the board, I am excited and honored to welcome all of you to Arusha for our 7th Afiia conference. I won't say much because I think Dr. Zelia did it all. So my role is just to say, feel outside our borders. We are thus in our beautiful country. And for those who are joining us online, we are happy to have you, and we expect you are going to have a fruitful event as we learn and share experience, networking, but of course, for all of us who are here, enjoy the city of Arusha. Just a special recognition for those who traveled miles to come and join us here, who are coming outside our border. I will recognize where you are coming from, and if you are here, you can just wave to us. We are having delegates from Botswana, Cameroon, Democratic Republic of Congo, Ghana, Kenya, Morocco, Zambia, Gambia, Zimbabwe, Mali, Rwanda, and Uganda. You are all warmly welcome. So without wasting more time, I would like to welcome Mr. Emmanuel Johannes, our chairperson and president of African Federation of Institute of Internal Auditors, to come and provide his keynote speech as we proceed with our event. Karibuni sana. Asante sana.
It is my pleasure again today to welcome all of you. I think some of you we've met already in the last 2 days that we've been engaging each other at the Grand Melia. So the only thing that I did not recognize when we were at the previous board and audit committee event is actually the number of the size of the contingent of the people who have made the trip all the way from Zimbabwe. So my understanding in the beginning was Gambia was the biggest group, but I'm happy to recognize both Zimbabwe and Gambia as 2 big contingent groups. Yes. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I can also see you, Esther, from Zambia. So Cameroon, DRC, Uganda, we met yesterday. So all of you who are here in person, but for those also who are joining us via Zoom, so thank you very much. My duty today is just to initiate this conference so that we can continue to discuss various issues in the next 3 days. So unlike the previous events which we've been having, this is going to be more evolving. We will have longer sessions because of different requirements, specifically for the people who are connecting from different parts of the world. We have speakers from all, and some of them, their time zone is not connecting very well with us, but we've made some arrangements where we'll be having sessions, I think, are up to around 4 p.m. in the evening, which is still a good time for us to allow some of our speakers to connect specifically from North America. So as I've been introduced already, I'm the chairman of the African Federation of the Institute of Internal Auditors. I'm the past president of IIA Tanzania. So 2011 to 2015, I was the president of IIA Tanzania. And I served in the board of IIA Tanzania, I think, until 2019. So when I see we've been able to pull this kind of event, I feel proud as a past president. But also I would like to recognize all the past presidents of IIA Tanzania who are in this room today. And I think, unless otherwise, they were all present yesterday. I can see Godfrey Kilenga. Godfrey, please. Yes. Yes. We have Hadi Chacha. Agostino Mbogera. Where is Agostino? Okay, so, and Richard Magongo is at the back room, so he'll be joining us shortly. So we have all the past president of IIA Tanzania, and I would like to say today, all of them, they will be speaking. They are all speakers in this day one of the event. So I would be happy to have them while they are sharing their experience. I'll be talking about three things as we set up the theme for this event today. First of all, the theme for the conference is agility and innovation. Okay, so I will speak a little bit about that, but we have speakers lined up to take us into detail in terms of what is agility and what is innovation and what does it mean to internal auditors. But also I would challenge us to look at few key agendas for the 2021 and beyond for internal auditors, which I think they will be important as we revisit our theme. And the first area is innovation. Innovation and agility. So what is innovation? I think the definition from the dictionary, it states that innovation is the process by which new ideas are developed, tested, and brought to the market by business. New ideas, tested, and brought in to the business. So what does innovation mean to internal auditors? What does it mean to you? How can we bring in new ideas to the profession? How do we test them? And how quickly can we integrate them in the performance of our duties? So we'll have speakers. I think tomorrow we'll have two speakers specifically talking about innovation and agility. So agility is defined as flexibility, how quickly, how flexible you are. So again, with innovation comes the word agility, because without agility, your innovation may not move to the same pace as expected. So as we look around, as we consider and we contemplate for the next few days, we will learn many practices about agility and innovation to our profession. What does it mean and what it can help us and how can it shape the future of our profession? So as part of the pandemic and other things that we have experienced in the last year or so, I think we've been, most of us, we've been in lockdown or in restrictions, physical restrictions, and the other restrictions. Some of you have been working from home, business has been tested, but we are still internal auditors. We need to provide the assurance, we need to provide insights, we need to provide advices to our organizations. So what I've picked up, I think there are 4 areas which I think will be important for this year as we go back home and as we contemplate in this conference in the next 3 days. One of them is the digital transformation. Yeah. So the digital transformation. The next one is on the business continuity and resilience. Then we'll also discuss about our relevance and then professionalism. Okay. So with the digital transformation, the key question is, are we ready for the transformation? as internal auditors. For the board and the audit committee members, we've engaged in the last 2 days, and we've seen the challenges. But the question is, are we ready in this room for the digital transformation? So we will have, again, I think we have 3 different speakers who will engage with us in detail in terms of what we need to do as far as digital transformation is concerned, but also who will challenge us, our understanding of digital transformation, and if we are ready. The study which was done recently, I think in 2020, by the Institute of Internal Auditors Foundation, which has been published in the website of IIA, it talks about, there was a survey that was done about the use of technology. So because if we talk about the digital transformation, we have to think about the technology, because there's nothing digital without the technology. So the survey asked the internal auditors, if they feel the manual technology or the manual processes within the organizations are limiting their ability to work effectively. So 46% of those who responded, 46% of internal auditors, they believed the manual technology or things that are not being automated within the organizations are limiting them in their ability to do their work appropriately. But we have 27% who disagreed. So there's 27% who disagreed, and we had 27% who had no ideas. So if I look at this room, if we are running that poll in this room right now, where are you falling? Do you disagree? Or you have no idea? Or do you agree? So I'm sure the distribution will be very much similar like what we see in the survey which was done by the IIA Foundation last year. But what is important for the next 3 days is to challenge ourselves, is to challenge our techniques, our skills, and the technology that we use to deliver our work, and consider if we are ready for the transformation. Because if we talk about the theme of innovation and the agility, what does it mean to us? Are we ready? And that brings me to the standard. I think if you go to IPPF, standard 1,200 in the professions and due professional care. So if you go to the specific standard 1210A3, it says internal auditors must have sufficient knowledge of key information technology risks and control, and the available technology-based audit techniques to perform their assigned work. So if you look at this standard, and if you look at the results of the survey, still comes the question. If we have to follow the standards, there is a requirement, specific requirement for us to be able to understand, to know about information, technology, risks, and control. So if our companies are moving there, and if we are not moving with the same speed which they are moving, are we still adding value to our company? Yeah, are we still relevant? Which is one of the areas I would speak shortly. Okay, so the other area that I would like to challenge all of you is on the continuity and resilience, business continuity and resilience. And I think some of you from the countries where you're coming from, and even myself in my country, we've seen some of the companies challenged with the business continuity. For some of them, the information has been public. For some, and for most of the companies, perhaps we have not seen any public information relating to the lack of continuity due to lack of unprepared, due to lack of preparations during the pandemic. We agree the pandemic was not expected, but here we are. We've been preaching about the business continuity and resilience of the business, and we are internal auditors, and our role is to provide assurance that the business continuity in our organizations are working, the processes are resilient, and we can recover regardless of the challenges that we face. At least there's a reasonable time, depending on the criticality of the system. It is expected that we should be able to recover in one way or another. Yes, we may not have a smooth transition, but do you have the business continuity in your organization? Yeah. Again, if we go through the standards, if we read it with the ISO and International Electrotechnical Commission, IEC, they have the standard 22301 of 2019 on security and resilience. And I think those who are doing IS auditing would agree with me that this is part of your requirement when you are providing information system assurance. We are required also as internal auditors to make sure that there's security and resilience, business continuity management systems are working in your organization. So the standards give us the guideline in terms of how they should be working. But the key question is, for those who are certified information system auditor, this is one of the domains that you learn. And for those who are also doing the normal operations and routine auditing, you still have the standard 12210 A3, which requires you to appreciate and understand information technology. So there's no exit clause for all of us. So what are we doing with the continuity of our organizations? Yes, we may have faced the challenges already, but what is more important is the future. What are you doing going forward? By the end of this conference, what is your take home? So I expect you to engage our speakers as we contemplate all these questions. Yeah. So feel free to ask us many questions because we have lined up some of the most competent speakers from around the world. Yeah. So we expect to continue engaging on these topics. So as I said earlier, on the same level, okay, yes, there was a pandemic, business has been challenged, but one of the things going forward, which I think will still be a priority, whether we feel now we are in control of the COVID-19 situation, still we'll need to have some sort of response plan, yeah, which is part of the continuity. Yeah. So I think one of them will be to prioritize the pandemic response plans. Yeah. So because organizations must be able to identify and assess events that could disrupt operations and the ability to deliver product and services to its customers. At the end of the day, our customers need services. They don't care how we deliver the services. So it is up to us to stay focused in our businesses and find ways. So COVID-19 is something that if you look at the risk assessment, perhaps it was not in the prediction at all. But who knows what might be next? Yeah. So living by assumption is not something that we should be doing. We should be making informed decisions. So we are also expecting organizations to adapt to changing consumer needs. Yeah, the customers are changing, consumers are changing. So organizations, I expect, must be more flexible and agile, which is the theme of this conference, to respond to consumer needs following a business disruption. So what is the role of internal auditors in this? Because at the end of the day, we are there to support the business to deliver the services to the consumers. Yeah. So our role is not only about looking at internal controls. Internal control is just one of the things that we do to make sure that the consumers get what they need. So our role is to support the business objectives, is to support the value creation of the company. So what are we doing as far as our organizations are concerned? Of course, during this pandemic, and you have seen most of the companies could not send people here because different companies have different policies. We still have to prioritize the well-being of employees. Yeah. So as auditors, I expect also you have to look around at your organization programs and look at them and consider what are they doing about the people? Because it's not all about the products, it's not all about the business, but it is also about the human beings. What are we doing about them? Yeah. But also we need to look at the third-party relationships because with the pandemic, there's been a lot of third-party engagement. Yeah, for example, today, IIA, we are running this event, but behind the back room on our technical team, we have a lot of third-party who are doing the work for us. Yeah, so internal auditors will also be expected to scrutinize the third-party relationship. This is one of the key risks, key technology risks that have been identified recently. So we need to look at how can we minimize those risks. Yeah, but also we have to be more proactive, and we have to be globally focused. Yeah, so our organization must respond quickly to challenges as they arise and further embed resilience into the consciousness of employees at all levels of the business, which is the theme for this conference. This is why we are discussing innovation and agility. So if we talk about agility, we're talking about how can we respond quickly to the challenges that are arising? How can we respond quickly and create new ideas as we move along? And so this now brings me to my third point, which I think is very important, is about the relevance. So with all those technological developments, with the speed of changes, with the digital transformation which is going on, the use of artificial intelligence and other technologies within our companies. But where are we as internal auditors? And this brings the question of relevance. It's not a good question to ask this group in the room if we are relevant or not, but we still have to ask ourselves, are we still providing objective assurance and insights and advice to the business? Are we still there? Do we still think we have capacity to do so? Have we challenged our skills? Have we challenged the technology that we use to deliver our work? You know, I'm happy to see Godfrey is here. I think he will be engaging later in the afternoon to talk more about the challenges of internal auditors, particularly in the public sector, because the question of relevance has come not only in Tanzania, but I've seen some challenges around Africa. Yeah, we've been receiving information from different parts. For example, in Tanzania, there's been a big debate of whether internal auditors in the public sector are still relevant, whether they are doing the right job. Yeah, because it seems like there's more recognition in terms of what external auditors are doing. Yeah, so part of what we need to ask ourselves is the relevance of internal auditors. Yeah. So apart from that, I think there's been a lot of challenges regarding of our relevance. Apart from those who have been challenged professionally, whether they deliver their work or not, there's been also some challenges in terms of different threats which internal auditors have experienced as well. And the threats are coming from lack of recognition from our accounting officers, from the CEOs, and from the board. Yeah. If they don't understand what we are doing, if they don't understand our relevance, it becomes difficult for us to be able to address some of the challenges and to deliver some of the values and objective advice and insights to allow the businesses to move along. So the question of relevance, I leave it to you. Ask yourself, ask your team, look at what is available, what you can do, look at the gaps, and how you can address them, because we need to remain relevant. So then comes to the point, the last part of it, I talk about leadership and communication, which is part of the professionalism, which is my last area that I would like to discuss. So under the professionalism, okay. So under the professionalism, I would like to look at the internal auditors' competence framework, but I will just pick a specific area from the competence framework, which is leadership and communication. So if you look at leadership and communication, which is one of the areas under the competence framework of internal auditors, I think it's the last part of the competence framework. it says leadership and communication, these are competencies required to provide strategic direction, communicate effectively, maintain relationships, and manage internal audit personnel and processes. So one of the key challenges with the previous topic of relevance is about how do we manage relationships also as internal auditors? How do we manage our stakeholders? How do we deliver value to our stakeholders? And I'm happy that Hadi Chacha is here. We'll be speaking about the politics of internal auditing, I think today or tomorrow. So he will address more some of the challenges in terms of strategic positioning of internal auditing and how we can go around. Because sometimes we tend to be too rigid, to change. So Hadi will talk more about the politics of internal auditing, and I'm sure you'll be able to engage with him as we go along. So again, on the same area of leadership and communication, it brings us to the question of the professions, because strategic positioning of internal auditing, communication, and what we deliver, it depends very much on the skills, the professions that we have as a team. So if we look at the professions, 1210, it says internal auditors must possess the knowledge, skills, and other competences needed to perform the individual responsibilities. So the internal audit collectively must possess or obtain the knowledge, skills, and other competences needed to perform its responsibilities. So if we look at the professions, are we proficients? Are we ready? Do we have the skills that are required? But proficiency goes with the due professional care. Internal auditor must apply the care and skill expected of a reasonably prudent and competent internal auditors. So due professional care does not imply infallibility. But why I talk about due professional care? Part of the challenges that we face in our organizations is because of the lack of application of the due professional care. So I expect that we should be able to engage more to apply the care and skill expected of reasonable, prudent, and competent internal auditors so that we can move together. So as I finish my session and welcome the next speaker, I would like to remind you about the theme for this session, which is keeping up with agility and innovation. So I'm looking forward to engage with all of you. I expect you to engage all our speakers, and we will have enough time to share and to respond to different questions. We'll have the Q&A session. I think on day 2, we'll have the Q&A session to take some of your questions that may have not been answered. So thank you very much, and I wish you all productive discussions in the next 3 days. Thank you.